Hey girl. So, welcome to the channel, Teresa Renee. And today, it's not going to be a quick check-in. It's going to be a vlog. I'm getting ready, but while I'm getting ready, where's my toner? Girl, Tootie sits down at my desk, and when Tootie sits down at my desk, stuff is everywhere. So currently, I have been using Peter Thomas Roth 8% glycolic solution toner. Refines lines and wrinkles, pores, uneven skin tones, radiance, and smoothness. And as you can tell, I am right here with it. I don't know if you can tell or not. And it's okay. It ain't all that, girl. I haven't been using it consistently. So with that being said, it's okay, but I haven't been consistent. I wanted to come in and check in and say, how you doing, girl? How are you doing? I wanted to check on you mentally. With this pandemic going on, so much has happened. Things have been so crazy. Some of us have lost family members. Some of us have been forced to be teachers, to be so many things, that we may or may not have been prepared to be. Some of us have been forced into some pretty tight spots lately, and I wanted to check in with you to see how you're doing, because a lot of the times we as content creators, we like to keep things light and airy and not so heavy on our channels. But at the same time, I feel like sometimes we need to check in and just say, girl, it's okay to not be okay. It is. All of us have these days sometimes that we're just not okay. Like the days, weeks, months, and maybe it's just your year that you're just not okay. You're not okay. And no matter how hard you try to be okay. Hold on, let me make my petty appointment right quick. No matter how hard you try to be okay, you're just not okay. And it may be one of those days, girl, that you just like, you know what, I'm going to choose to be happy today. Because a lot of times, girl, I choose to be happy. But some days, I can't find it. I be saying I'm choosing, be trying my hardest to stay there in that spot. But sometimes it's difficult getting there. And for my under eye area, I am using the Tula Skincare Glow and Get It Cooling and Brightening Eye Balm. I got this in my BoxyCharm, and I do like this a lot. It does have like a little cooling sensation, and I feel like it does brighten the under eye area, and as well as moisturize the under eye area. You might see a shadow behind me, but it's all right. It's real life stuff, girl. But sometimes we're just not okay. And as much as we try to remain in that place, sometimes you just can't find that place. And you may try so hard as you can to get there, but it's difficult. It's difficult. And some days you may need to lie in the bed and cry it out. Some days you might need to get up, take a walk, just to release. I think sometimes we're so, especially if you're a really strong person that everybody comes to for everything. Like for me, honestly, I have not. I found myself so many times trying to help and assist others with the passing of my son. And my kids, I do expect to do my kids. And I call them kids. They always gonna be my kids because they're my kids, even though they grown and the one up in their 30s, well, one is in his 30s. They're always gonna be my kids. My daughter's 30. So yeah, I call them kids. I expect with every being in me to help my kids to get through. But it's some days that I have to help my son's father get through. I have to help other people, his baby mothers, to get through. And then some days I gotta take some time for me because I need to get through. And I'm making this video because COVID-19, this year in general, has brought a lot to people that we didn't face, or we never thought not gonna say thought we faced. But it's been hard. It's been extremely hard. And I know that I wasn't prepared for this. I had set my year up. Girl, I had set my year up to achieve goals. I had so many goals I wanted to achieve. So much stuff that I want to do and get done and accomplished. And I haven't done any of it. My goal has been to get through to another day, another week, another month, another hour sometimes. And I don't feel bad about it because I'm in survival mode. And I know some of you may be in survival mode. We're places that we never thought we would be, confined to your home. Some people have lost multiple family members. Not just one family member, but multiple family members. And this year's not been very kind. So, a lot of us are in survival mode. We're doing the best we can to get by. And it's okay. It's okay. Because truthfully, we're built like that. We're built to survive. We're built to overcome. We're built to heal. You know, like the body can heal itself. We're built to heal. Every once in a while, we might find ourselves where we need therapy. We definitely need God. We need Jesus to survive. My under eye area is not going to stay like this. I'll blend it in, but I just usually let it sit like this for a little while. Now you see why I want to get my brows done. This is the most tedious, longest process of me getting ready. Period, poo. But, girl, yeah, some people have lost jobs. Some people, finances have been attacked this year. So, we're going through a lot. You know what I'm saying? We're going through a lot. Even if it's not us personally. It could be somebody that we know, family, friend, what have you, that is just going through a really hard time. And sometimes it's good if you are fortunate enough to just bless somebody in spite of. They might not know it's even coming, but just to bless them and just, expect nothing in return. Because I started out this year, a lot of y'all saw that vlog. When I started out, like, delivering stuff and helping people and doing so much, and not long after that, I got sick. Really, really, really sick. And I was sick for like two and a half weeks, maybe. Really, really sick, to the point where I couldn't breathe. And I really questioned whether I had COVID or not. I didn't go to the doctor because I was scared to go to the doctor. But I really was having problems, but I did journal some of it. And I really was having problems like breathing and a lot of stuff that I was scared. I thought I was dying, to be honest. And not scared to leave here, but scared to leave my family. Nobody wants to leave their kids without being able to have spent time with them, stuff like that. But what eye am I using today? Girl, I don't even know. I'm just going to the post office. It ain't even that serious. But I was sick. I didn't even tell nobody I was sick. My husband knew I was sick, and I just said I was sick. I wasn't feeling good. That was my biggest thing. I just wasn't feeling good because I wasn't feeling good, to be honest. It was something that I needed to go through by myself. And that's what I really realized and recognized, is that I need to go through that alone. I was in a spot that it was between me and the Lord. And that's just being real. It was between me and the Lord, the place that I found myself in. And oftentimes, I lay in the bed just talking to the Lord. I was so sick that I couldn't talk on the phone. I didn't talk to my husband. I lay there and I talked to God about different things. About being sick, but I talked to God. I prayed for others. Some days when I felt better, I had a praise session right here in the house, girl, by myself. And that time prepared me, though, to be able to accept the news that I got on a Monday morning about my son. And I say all that to say, sometimes when we're in these places that we find ourselves, you might can't adult that day. You might can't adult that week. You might just be going through and having a hard time just pulling it together. In those moments, take the time to find God, to seek his face, to meditate on him, to get closer to him. Because sometimes we don't know why we're in these places or how long we're going to be in these places. But what we do know is that God is a keeper if you believe in him. Because some people don't believe, and that's part of the problem. Some people don't believe. But if you are a believer, then you know God is a keeper, he is a healer, and that he won't put more on you than you can bear. But oftentimes, we need to find our spots. Sometimes you'll be put down. You might be put on your back. You might be put in a financial situation because you need to spend time with God, with the Lord. You need to spend time. You need to meditate on him. You need to find yourself in him. Find your place in him. Sometimes we be going through, and it's simply for us to slow down, sit down, lie down, do whatever you have to do, but to focus on our Redeemer. Focus on the healer. Focus on the Savior. Because sometimes that's the only way God can get our attention. Some of us, a lot of us, most of us, that's the only way he can get our attention, is for us to be put on our backs. For us to be put in uncomfortable situations. For us to have nowhere else to turn, no one else to turn to. That, okay, you've been running long enough. Now, come on, have a seat and let's chat. Sometimes that's the only way God can get a chat with us, is when we're down and out. But I wanted to come on to encourage you to see how you're doing. See how are you doing? Because like I said, most of the time as YouTubers, content creators, we keep things so light and so airy. And we don't even realize and recognize sometimes that we're, even though we do these videos and everybody do, you know, what they do, sometimes you are the person that you got to reach other people. You got to tell people how you got over. You got to tell people where they need, you know, that God is able and that he's a healer. He's a redeemer. And that he can heal you and bring you back from things you never thought you could come back from. Whether it be the healing from, the death of a parent, a spouse, a child. God is a healer. He's a redeemer. He can bring us back from everything. He can bring us back from it all if we trust in him. He wants us to make it. He wants us to survive. He wants us to hang in there. And God wants us to trust in him. And sometimes the only way that we put our trust in him is when we are afflicted. Come on, somebody. When we are afflicted and it seems like everywhere we turn, everything we try is falling apart. That's God saying, hey, you tried everything else. Now, when you going to try me? I've been sitting here waiting so patiently, waiting for you to come, waiting on you. Sometimes he's waiting on us. And the only way he can get us is when we're down and out. Don't be down and out before you turn to the Lord. It happens sometimes, but I'm saying, if you are down and out and you feel like you have nowhere else to turn, you can always turn to God. He's waiting. That's what he's there for. Sometimes in life, we forget that. Sometimes I think people really honestly forget. Girl, I ain't put on primer the first. It's okay. Sometimes I feel like sometimes we go through and life is just going and zooming and passing that we forget that we have a redeemer, we have a savior, a healer. He's waiting on us to turn to him. He's calling us out one by one. And I really think that this year things have happened because so many times we concerned about everything else but our souls. And I do know this. If you have lost a loved one, and I can say this because I have, the loved one is gone on. They have gone on to be with the Lord. And now it's time for you to focus on you. Some of you have, I've read the comments. I read the emails. And I'm going to tell you this. Prayer changes things. Prayer changes things. I had to get to a point where one summer, 2016, which has been, 4 summers ago? And I know the year because I wrote it in my planner. I was so exhausted. I was mentally drained. Physically drained. I had done everything that I knew how to do under the sun for my son. I was mentally drained. Physically. And I say that because, like I said, I read the emails. I read the messages. I've seen the emails time and time and time again. I respond to everybody that emails me. I try to respond to all the comments. Sometimes I get behind, but I'll eventually respond. Mentally exhausted, physically exhausted, drained, completely drained. I had given everything I had to give, and I had nothing left to give. And I could tell you this because I know some of y'all are hurting. I know you're hurting. I know you're in pain. I know your pain. And it might be from your husband. It could be from your child. I mean, I know the pain and I know you're tired. What I will say to you is don't give up. But find some time to rejuvenate yourself. And for my son, in my situation, because I've had to put my husband in God's hands before. Keep him there, but I'm just saying. Where, girl, and I'm talking years ago, after we first got married, things were rough, girl. He was just doing, he was doing him, put it that way. And I always been the one to say, when I get married, I'm never getting a divorce. I'm never divorcing my husband. Marriage is for life. Girl, that's what I felt. That's what I still feel. I do. But you have got to take care of yourself, baby. Because no one else, when I say no one, I mean no one else is going to take care of you. No one else. And sometimes you got to say time out. You remember this sign right here? Time out. I got to go see about me. And whether that's getting yourself in therapy, some days at the spa, definitely sometimes on your knees. I encourage everybody to journal. Journaling, talking to the Lord. I would say your friends, but girl, be careful how you talk to your friends now. Make sure that them friends you could trust, honey. And I tell people, I'm going to tell you this. If you're talking to somebody about your man, it might want to be your sister. If you got a sister, y'all got a relationship, or somebody, I don't recommend nobody talk to, unless you got a mighty good homegirl. And I'm talking about a girl I done seen, not in my situation, but I'm going to tell you right now. I have seen some people that talk to their friends about their man, their hairstylists about their man, and girl, next thing you know, they had that man and gone. So be careful how you talk to your peoples about your man. Telling you that right now. I done seen that happen to several females. Several females. For real. Girl, especially these young girls. These young girls are something else, honey. I done heard so many stories. When I tell y'all I have heard stories, I have heard like a lot of stories where people talk to their beauticians, their homegirls. These are younger people, but think about back in your day. It happens. It happens. People talk to folks about their man, girl. Next thing you know, their man is gone with that woman. If that happened to me, I probably beat that sister down back in my day. I would have beat her down. I ain't gonna lie. I would have beat somebody tail, girl, back in the day, honey. Because if you do something to me like that, girl, I would whip you. Back in my day, I would have whipped your tail. That's just all it is to it, honey. I would have whipped that butt. But I will say, find some time for yourself because, honey, you need it. I think this might not be the right brush. Girl, I'm doing all of this just to go to the post office with a mask on. I think back in the day, I think a lot, off the time, what the freak? I think off the time, we as women, you give of yourself, and you give and you give and you give till you just don't have nothing else left to give. And for my son, girl, it have run its course. I had nothing else to give. I had given everything I had. Everything I could muster up, I gave it. My time, my energy, myself, my money, my vehicles, like so much. Everything. Everything. My energy, my prayers. When I say everything, I had given everything I had. I didn't have nothing left to give. Nothing. Absolutely nothing did I have left to give. When I got to that point, I said, God, I don't have anything else to give. I've done everything. I've said everything. I've given everything I had. I don't have, girl, let me tell you, I poured it all out. God, I don't have anything left to give. I'm at the end of my rope, Lord. Help him. Help him, Lord, because I don't have anything left to give. I have given him everything I got. That was my cry. My outcry was, God, I have given everything and God knew that I had given everything that I had. I had nothing, y'all. When I say I had zero. I looked in the mirror one day and I didn't recognize the woman that stared back in my face. I had aged. I was worried. I saw the worration on my face. I saw the stress in my face. And if you are a mother of, if you're, especially I say a mother, sometimes it could be a wife of somebody that has bipolar or any kind of mental illness. Some point in your life, that's your story. That's your story, is that you have given all you got. You're at the end of your rope. Your best is never, ever good enough because it's always so much more required of you. Instead of the helper, you become the enemy. And I'm telling you my story. I'm sure some of y'all can relate, but I'm talking about me. Instead of the helper, you become the enemy. And it's you against him or her. And you're saying to yourself, I'm trying my best. All I could do is help. I've given you all the money I can afford to give you. I have run up and down the street everywhere I need to be. You are. Whether it's in jail, whether it's in the hospital, I have given you everything I got. I don't have nothing else to give you. When you get to that point, hopefully, most of us, the sad part about it is most of us, it takes so long before we get to the point where we just like throw up our hands and say, I don't have anything else to give you. And at that point in time, now keep in mind, I'm always praying. I've always prayed for my kids, for my husband, for my son, for myself. You know, I always pray. But how many times do we put them in God's hand and just walk away? So many times, you know, I prayed all the time for Adrian. I always pray for him and his illness and whatever he's going through. But sometimes I would find myself back in the fire, back in the rat race, back and picking it back up and trying to go a little bit harder, a little bit further, to the point that I burn myself out again. Getting phone calls all the time of the night about something he's done. Something all the time. But one day, I said, God, I can't do this anymore. God, I am so tired. I am burnt out. I don't have anything else to give. God, I release him to you. And this time when I cried out and I released him, because I had taken him as far as I personally, humanly could take him. And I didn't have nothing else. I had nothing else. So I called on the Lord. And I never forget. I'm going to tell you how bad it was. So one day I forgot. I had asked him to do something. And it's not that my son was my son was a good person. He had a great heart. But the illness, a lot of times, because he was unmedicated, caused him to be violent and other things. And I told y'all from time to time, I'll come on, we'll talk, we'll chat. But he had done, I was on my way to work one day. And he was just constantly doing so. I asked him to do something. He got mad. And he threw something and hit the wall and put a hole in the wall. And I mean, it was just, I was headed out the door. I threw my books. I threw my bag down. And I ran to my room and fell on my bed and just bust out crying. And I cried. And I cried and I cried and I cried. I cried. Let me tell you something. I never done that. I cried from like 10:30 that morning. I called in to work. I didn't even go to work. I couldn't go to work. I was a mess. I called in to work and I cried from about 10:30 to that morning, off and on to like 10, 11 o'clock that night. The tears would not stop flowing. And I just laid there and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried and I cried. I cried and I just cried. I didn't even watch the TV, girl. I laid here, and when it got dark, I laid in the dark and I just cried. Because I was so exhausted. I was so tired. Mentally, physically exhausted. And I'm saying this because I want you to know I feel you. I know where you are. I will continue to tell you to hold on. Hold on. But I said, God, I'm done. I can't do this no more. I can't. I can't do it anymore. I need you, Lord, to intervene. I need you, God, to step in. Lord, I need you. I need you. I put him in God. Lord, I put him in your hands. I can't do it anymore. And the minute I got to that point, and I just couldn't do it anymore, and got serious with God about turning him over to him, that's when my life took off. And I'm talking to y'all, it was just a few years ago. And things began to change for me. I got to the point where no longer did I worry. You better hear me. God would not allow me to worry anymore. He wouldn't. And it was so crazy because I remember telling my cousin one day, we were at work, and it's like it hit me like a ton of bricks. I said, a long time had passed, like let's say a couple months. And I told her, I said, Tanya, she was like, what? I said, you know what I realized? And she was like, what? That I'm not worried about Adrian. And she said, huh? Cousin's a minister. I said, girl, ever since I turned Adrian over to God, I ain't been worried. It's like I realized that I hadn't been worried. I realized I had not been worried. You hear what I said? I realized I had not been worried. When I realized that I hadn't been worried, I was like, I haven't been worried. Oh my God, I have not been worried. It was good for me because I realized that I was not worried about him. And she said to me, because you finally let go and turn him over to God. But yeah, girl, I woke up one day and it felt good. It felt good to no longer worry. It felt good to not be stressed completely out. It felt good because no matter what, at that point, I knew that God was going to take care of him. And even in his death, I know that God had his hands all. He took care of him still. He's still taking care of him. And I told y'all before, to be absent from the body is to be in the presence of the Lord. And what better place can he be? And that's just, really how I'm looking at things, because that's how it is. If you trust God, notice I say if you trust God. You can't have your trust in man. You can't halfway trust. You got to put all your trust in God. So that when things come and things happen, then you can stand. You can stand, because this is the thing, and I'm telling you because I truthfully feel like I know that my experience, and I've always talked about, y'all know I have, if you've been on my channel for a long time, then you know I've always talked about testimonies and sharing and stuff like that. So I know that my experience is to help you through. If you're watching this and it may not be your child, you may know someone, but this experience is to help you or to help somebody that you know. So, because what we all go through, our experiences in life, really is to be a testimony and to help others go through. The problem comes in because oftentimes people don't share their experiences, their testimonies. Because if you're still breathing and you're still here on this side, you have a testimony. I don't care, and at the time, I must say, especially when I first started going through with my son, I didn't realize that what was going on and what was happening. However, through that, I've been able to testify, share my experiences with others to possibly, get help for their loved ones, identify certain issues. I will be doing more videos because I do want to talk to those of you that have kids in school or somebody that you know in school, because school systems are not very helpful or caring when you have a child with mental disabilities that are behavioral related. If they could see the physical, mental, if they could see the physical illness, they will accept it better. They'll try to offer more services. But if it is behavioral, you can forget it. They will label your child to death if they can, if you let them. But anyway, I wanted to come on, really, I wanted to chat, see how you're doing, and it went somewhere else. So y'all know how these videos go. Sometimes we come on to talk about one thing, and God will take that video and lead it in another direction, because that's what happens sometimes. Anyway, I am ready. And I'm ready to get out of here. I need to run to the post office. I have an auntie that lives in California and everything is shut down. So she called me last week and she was like, girl, I can't get my hair done. It's a mess. I need something. She was like, when I was at your house, now this probably was like 5 years ago. And I tried on this wig, girl, she still got that picture. She sent me that picture. She was like, do you have anything like this that you can send me? So, girl, I went and got her probably like 5 or 6 wigs that I boxed up. So I'm going to go take them to the post office and drop them off for her. But like I said, keep the emails coming, keep the, messages or whatever. It may take a little time, but most of the time I'm pretty responsive in getting back. Hold on and stay strong. But take those moments for yourself. And when you go into these moments for yourself, don't let anything distract you. Like, turn your phone off. If you're going to get a manicure and a pedicure, something as simple as that, turn your phone off. I went to get a back facial with this girl one day. She treated me. Homegirl was on her phone. We got a back facial and then a facial. She was on her phone. She was texting. She was posting. She was doing so much stuff. And I'm looking like she was talking. I'm like, first of all, be quiet. I am trying to get, because we were like not far from each other, but she talking to me and asking me questions. I'm like, homegirl, just chill, relax. When you're in those spaces and those moments and those times, relax. Allow yourself to just let everything go. Let it all go so that you can recharge and mentally focus back on what you need to focus on. Because you can't let go of your child. You cannot let go. And I, in the sense of, you got to give them over to God, but you still got to, you don't have to worry, but you still have to tend to them. You still have to make sure that their needs are met as best as you can. As best as you can. But let me get out of here. I got a lot of videos to do today, so you'll probably see this get up and all this stuff. I'm loving my haircut. Girl, I feel free right about now. Let me turn around so you can just see the back. This is first day hair, and I still love it. Girl, I'm going to have to get me another screen. My little screen, I'm just looking at it. It's holding on, girl. It's barely holding on, but it's holding on. But anyway, let me get out of here. First day hair, it is frizzy, but I like my hair like this. I don't know. I like the frizzy look. Go figure. I don't know, because a lot of times my hair probably wouldn't be frizzy, but I mess with it till it frizz up most of the time. I ain't gonna lie. But anyway. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel. If you have not subscribed yet, hit the subscription button. Hang out with your girl. I want to get brave enough one day to do live. That's my goal. I'm trying to work my way up to it, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. We'll see. Anyway, subscribe, comments, or email me. Either one works for me, however you are comfortable doing it, if you need to talk or if you need anything. And I'm gonna holler back at you later. Bye, girl.